Well, good morning, everybody. It is a new month, time for another video, and as you can tell by my little feature, it is a new season, which just happens to be my favorite season of the year for a lot of reasons. For one, which you may not be able to tell, this season, spring means no facial hair. Beard comes off. By the time you see this video, spring will have already officially begun, and where I live it's in the 80s and 70s, so the beard comes off to help cool my face off and help keep me warm during spring, especially when I'm outside being active, biking. As I said before, when I grow a beard, it's not a superficial thing, it's a functional thing. So winter and fall are over with, so my beard served its purpose. It's off. So now I get to go to my clean shaven baby face for a few months until the first day of fall, when I'll start putting my beard back on. But since it's spring, and ironically, now that spring and the days are longer, I'm actually getting less sunlight in on my face, which is weird. But I want to really talk about this month, this season, because it means a lot to me. You know, I had my accident 25 years ago at the end of winter, and at the end of winter on March 31st. So now we're about a few days away from that milestone for me. But the real reason I like spring is everything's coming to life. Now you have to think, I had my accident on March 31st, and I was unconscious and out of it for about a week after that. So by the time I had actually gotten my bearings and come off all the medication and kind of come out of the coma I was in, spring had arrived, and it was like a whole new world. I mean, days were longer, the sun was out shining, and like most people, I had spring fever. Have you ever noticed about when the seasons change and spring arrives, everything just bursts forth with life, and you just want to go do things? You want to go on a road trip, you want to get out the house more, you want to go biking. For some of you, you might want to go to the beach. I'm a mountain person, so which I can go to the mountains year round. I'm not much of a beach person. But believe it or not, there's actually a scientific and medical reason this happens. And it all goes back to the brain. Sunlight, for men, well, for everybody, it increases your dopamine level, which is your pleasure hormone or chemical in your brain. So as we get more sun, our dopamine levels go up. So we have more energy and we experience pleasure more. So we come out of our funk, our winter funk, and we have more energy. Now, that dopamine level does different things to different people. Well, I should say different sexes. In women, the dopamine levels will cause your estrogen level go down. Now, ironically, you remember the book Men Are From Mars and Women Are From Venus? The whole point about men and women are different. In men, that dopamine level, and makes our testosterone levels go up, which makes a lot of guys antsy or frisky. And this is why a lot of guys really get the urge to go to the beach. I did a little bit when I was younger, but not so much. I mean, as your testosterone levels go up, guys become more, I'll say, sexually driven. And of course, going to the beach, seeing women run around in bathing suits, hat naked. I mean, pardon the pun, but it's a no-brainer. Okay, my testosterone, my hormones are raging. I want to go to the beach where women are walking around half naked. That's the medical perspective and the science behind what happens to guys. And again, like I said, a woman's testosterone will go down, and that's what. And do you see how it is? It's kind of like men are programmed to crave more during the spring and summertime. Women biologically can come down. Now, not all women just like, oh, I don't want sex. I don't want to be touched during summer and springtime. Actually, for a lot of women, the opposite happens. Even though the estrogen levels go down, they still want to go and be around the guys who are shirtless, see the beach bars and party. I mean, that's why we have spring break. Everybody flocks to the beaches or to the party cities and party. It's because our dopamine levels are going up, and as we get more sunlight, our vitamin D's levels go up, which vitamin D is our energy vitamin. So as you have more energy, you have more motivation and desire to go more. It's weird. You've heard the term SAD, seasonal depression. That's because we get less sunlight during the day. Our vitamin D levels go down. For guys, testosterone levels go down, and that's why a lot of people become homebodies during the winter and the fall. And it's part of the reason why, with me having a brain injury, I tend to be outside year round. I don't care how cold it's out. I don't care what the weather's like. I want to be outside. I'll be out walking or biking, freezing temperatures. As I stated before, my first bike ride of 2022, it was 38 degrees when I got on the bike. By the time I got in biking, it was only 48. But I was still getting that sunlight. And when you have a brain injury, that sunlight, it kind of helps fight against that low morale, that depressive state. So getting outside more and getting more sunlight is ideal for keeping a positive attitude if you have a brain injury. It's ideal for feeling better. So that's part of the reason I'm active year round. I really like it. And then of course, when it gets a little cooler, it's time for me to see if I can do this right. I'm sorry. When fall rolls around, my button's not working. Grow my beard back. You get it. Another interesting thing about sunlight, like if somebody's kind of introverted, the sunlight, like I said, it'll increase that dopamine level. So introverted people have their brains react to dopamine different than somebody who's not introverted. So more sunlight gives introverted people more dopamine, which kind of helps pepper them up, helps them come out the shell a little bit, gives a little bit more security. So if you're watching this video and you're an introvert, I encourage you to get outside. Enjoy these longer days with the sunlight. You'll feel better. So that is the interesting thing about sunlight. That's the science and the neurology behind spring fever. If you're like me and like the rest of us, you're really feeling the spring fever after what, 8 months of being homebodies and dealing with the weather. Which where I live, we have kind of mild winters in the south in Georgia. And I'll be honest with you, for the last month or two, we've had some warm weather. So I was trying, it took everything I had to keep my beard and keep from shaving it off before spring started. Because I'd go to the gym and run, and my beard would be so thick and I'd just get real hot before and be sweating to death before I even get a mile into my run. So what I started doing is as we get closer to spring, I started thinning my beard out so I could get more air to my face and let some of the heat from my face get out without chapping it with that beard. I'll try and put some pictures at the end of this video where you can see my transformation from my winter face as it progressed to getting ready for spring. It's really important for me, because if I don't trim my beard out, or I don't, to help keep me from sweating so much, it can cause me to sweat profusely and then dehydrate myself, which for me would trigger a seizure or a stroke. So a lot of my friends were like, wow, why don't you just keep your beard real year round? Because the hotter I get, as I've said before, the more I sweat and the more I will increase my risk for having a seizure or a stroke. So by lowering that body temperature, sweating less, I'm lowering my risk for having a seizure and a stroke. You know, I know a lot of you watching this are kind of like, yeah, well, I want to sweat and lose weight. I cannot emphasize enough. Losing water weight is not healthy. You'll still have it. I mean, even if you lose 5 pounds of water weight, you're still going to have all the other fat on your body, which is going to increase your risk for heart attacks and heart disease. And the fact that your organs are dehydrated, you're increasing your risk even more for strokes, heart attacks, liver failure, and kidney failure. So if you're experiencing spring fever, remember, stay hydrated. Don't try to do any crash dieting and dehydrating yourself so you can look good when you go to the beach or fit in those bathing suits for the beach. Spring fever can be good. It's a natural part of our life. I mean, we even see it in nature. Have you noticed how when springtime's come around, you hear birds chirping more? Birds and animals reproduce more during the spring and summertime because they get spring fever too, I guess. I don't know. I'm just making that they do reproduce more because it's a natural part of life. After being cooped up, gloomy weather, everything's springing forth, and it's interesting. We get our term, our word for this season, spring, from the actual physical process of life springing forth in the spring and summertime. The grass is getting greener, flowers are blooming, the bees and wasps are swarming, the birds are reproducing and chirping. Life is springing forth, and that is where we get the term spring from. I wish it was more scientific than that, but keeping it simple. Things springing forth, we got spring. Again, guys, that's really all I have for this month. I just wanted to jump on here and give a little neurological brain health perspective on what you're experiencing, like the rest of us, with spring fever. I'll try and put some pictures at the end of this video. As you can see me going from my winter phase, thinning my beard out, getting ready for the spring phase. And it's not easy. You see this, it took me 2 days to shave this beard off. Although while I'm filming this, today is the first day of spring. Actually, on the last day of winter, I have to start cutting my beard off because my beard's so thick. I have to cut it off with my beard trimmer. Then I have to go back and get another razor and thin that out. And then the first day of spring, I can actually shave with a regular razor. I mean, it takes a while to take all that hair off that I spent 8 months growing out during the fall and the winter. Hope you enjoyed this video. Hope you enjoy your spring, and I hope you're healthy. So I gotta do it one more time. What do you think? Beard or no beard? I was actually thinking about leaving some lamb chops and a mustache like somebody suggested at church. I was like, no. As I started cutting my beard off, I like whacked my lamb chop too short, so I just cut it off. And I'm afraid I would look like Freddie Mercury if I had a little mustache, so I'll cut it off too. Be sure, hit the like button, leave comments and your thoughts. I know I'm not the only one experiencing spring fever. I'm not even the only one experiencing spring fever with a brain injury. So feel free, leave your thoughts, hit the like button, give me a thumbs up, and get ready to go on some road trips and get outside more. You'll feel better. That's it for this month, y'all. Happy spring.